What's the worst thing you've seen happen at a party? Work party and one of the workers got wasted, as in stumbling around could barely talk straight. He thought it would then be a good idea to go up to his boss and tell her that she was an idiot and didn't know what she was doing. Funny part was, she thought it was funny, but the guy did not show up for work for a week. One of the IT guys photoshopped his picture on the pic of a milk carton, printed a bunch out and posted them around the office. It was awesome. He came back, apologized, kept his job for a bit longer but ended up leaving. Party host ended up beating a friend of mine for puking on his porch. Before the guy could finish asking for stuff to clean it up, the host went to his room, grabbed brass knuckles and beat his face in. There was blood everywhere. I don't remember doing this, but I made our other friend give me his shirt and held it to his face and we took him to the hospital. Later learned host was doing coke in the back alone. Guy had to have facial reconstruction surgery. He has a very different face now. A guy was drunk and ate a hot dog at a house party I was at. An hour goes by and the guy is nowhere to be found. 10 minutes of searching later and a couple of my buddies found him dead on the back porch. He had choked to death on a hot dog just outside of a room full of people. We think he started choking and went outside to try and get some air and was too drunk to do anything about it. That night was no good. Guy had a party at his grandma's apartment that faced a busy street. After a few too many, he decides to moon passing cars, but went through the glass. His friend caught him before he fell through. Party over while Moon Man went to the hospital. Goodbye Moon Man. At a Cinco de Mayo party there were about 22 work colleagues in a pretty small condo, maybe 1,200 square feet. Most of these people were friendly but I was pretty new and immediate started drinking. While I was outside grilling meat on the balcony, my deaf co-worker who is Mexican was preparing an authentic Cinco meal complete with freshly fried tortilla chips. Another employee just had to get into the galley kitchen and help the deaf friend even though he had asked for space. I come inside to deliver some meat and grab another drink and hear the most horrendous scream one could hear. The deaf guy turns around and the other employee was right behind him. He dropped the head of lettuce he was holding, which in turn hit the handle of the pot with the frying vegetable oil, which then spilled down the other employee's legs, melting that person's leggings into the skin. The memory is still disgusting. My sister got too drunk at a party. She fell into a bonfire and degloved both of her hands. Degloved is probably the most appropriately horrifying word used to describe any injury. The thought of your skin just sliding off your hands. I feel so bad for your sister just reading that sentence. Somebody took a crap in the dryer and turned it on. Ah, the old dryer deuce. One of my buddies was passed out drunk late into a high school party. Started around 4 and at about 8 PM the kid's stepdad, who owned the house, showed up and started drinking with the kids for a bit. All my buddy remembers is being woken up by his panicked friends and rushed out of the house and driven home. The kid's stepfather had a few beers, came into the living room where everyone was, and blew his brains out on the couch with a shotgun. Second place winner, right after the drowned kid. Frick me, I'm glad I didn't drink in high school. Clearly I missed the most fricked up party scene. Child drowning. My apartment overlooks the pool area, and there was a birthday party for an 8-year-old just setting up. While the 4 or 5 adults were setting up the tables, the 10 or 12 kids all piled into the hot tub right next to them. One child ended up on the bottom right at everybody's feet, but couldn't be seen. Eventually one of the kids felt her down there, and the screaming began. That's when I first looked outside and watched the rest of the tragedy unfold. Police, paramedics, etc. The little girl did not survive. Similar thing happened at a local pool a few towns over from me. Kid drowned and sunk to the bottom of the pool. The pool was so dirty you couldn't see the bottom. Took 2 days till someone found him. In high school I saw the guy be encouraged to chug a whole big bottle of tequila. Later that night I found him passed out on a mattress away from everyone else. I talked to him to get him to tell me he was okay. He stood up, did the robot and fell back asleep. He left in an ambulance. He blew a .28. I laughed too much that he stood, did the robot and fell asleep again. Friends were drunk, shirts off, jumping over the fire pit. At night, everybody having good time. The 2 people taking turns jumping couldn't see each other on their last go, so they ran and jumped at the same time. They met midair, over the fire pit. One of them got knocked to the side. The other fell on his back right into the fire. Mind you, without a shirt. We rushed drunkenly to get him out because he was yelling and trying to move out himself but couldn't. Would up needing skin graft on his back. Looked horrible. Still looks bad. Jack jumped over the candlestick. ETC. Isn't the rhyme to teach you fire hot don't frick with. An ex of mine had a friend who was in high school die at a party. She apparently got pretty wasted and fell down the basement steps, hitting her head, and a couple of girls picked her up and put her on the couch with them to pass out, and she died in her sleep. I saw a girl eating a sandwich in the corner of a party with a dog watching. The dog kept going in to take bites of the sandwich, and this led to the girl drunkenly moving it at the last second to make out with the dog. It happened for a good 5 minutes. I put down my drink and left right then. It happened for a good 5 minutes. I put down my drink and left right then. You mean you put down your drink and left after watching for 5 minutes, you dirty dog you? When I was around 10, my dad hosted a birthday party for one of his good friends whose boyfriend was proposing that night. The boyfriend even hired a mariachi band from out of town to play. Lots of people drinking and dancing. I don't remember why, but boyfriend PO'd the girlfriend shortly after proposing and they went outside to argue. We hear screaming and everyone ran outside to see him, who's drunk and ate the worm, driving away, and she's running after him. Next thing we know, we hear more yelling outside. Everyone runs outside again to see two of the mariachi band members fist fighting. Just the sight of seeing two mariachi band players in full costume fist fighting on my dad's front lawn will forever be engraved in my mind. Soon after, the mariachi players left, leaving one of the fighters. My dad offered to drive him where he needed, but he just left and we see him walking into the darkness. Perfect exit for a mariachi. This happened after a massive party at the house my best friend and I rented. After everyone left, it was me, my best friend Carlin, and his girlfriend. Carlin always passed out after a few drinks and went like totally unresponsive. Well, he was out at the dining room table and his girlfriend asked me to get him to his bed. I'm a big guy, so it was no problem. I carried him to his bed. She proceeded to take his shoes off and get him out of his nice outfit, so I walked away. I heard her call for me and I returned. Carlin was wearing very tight jeans and she couldn't get them off. She asked if I could help her get them off. I worked a lot during this time with adolescents diagnosed with autism, teaching life skills such as showering and using the bathroom, some with severe symptoms, so undressing a fully grown guy was pretty normal in my day. Without a second thought, I tackled the situation and began successfully removing my best friend and roommate's pants. At some point, without me realizing, his girlfriend walked out to go to the kitchen. I thought she was standing behind me. At this point, Carlin wakes up and sees me pulling down his pants. The look in his eyes as he reached down and pulled his pants back up still haunts me. I quickly turned to his girlfriend to explain the situation, to find she is not in the room any longer. I stumbled and stuttered and barely was able to mention her name, and she had asked for help before excusing myself and running to my room. I laid in bed all night staring at the ceiling and have never felt so awkward in my life. I had no idea what to expect the next day, but I assumed it would be, "Can I have your keys? I'll help you move your crap out." However, the next morning he had very fuzzy memory of the whole thing and thought it was hilarious. We remain close friends, but even writing this makes me shudder. His eyes spoke volumes of betrayal, disgust, fear, all as he reached past my hands to pull up his pants. The crushing feeling of awkward misunderstanding that tormented me all night. It was, however, a great party. A buddy of mine passed out in front of the toilet at a house party of mine. A bunch of people had to use it, but he insisted that they just use the bathroom anyway, with him wrapped around the base. And they did. Eventually a couple decided they wanted to frick in the bathroom, but he was still in there, wrapped around the base of the toilet. So they did it anyways. I finally realized he was in there, dragged him out of there, and put him in my bed for the night. And now, whenever he tells this story, I'm gay for some reason, because I slept there, too, facing the other direction, fully clothed. I love you, Timmy, but also, frick you. In high school I moved to a new school. A tia was showing me around the campus and we sort of hit it off. She invited me to a party that weekend. It was pretty standard fare of underage drinking and crappy music. That is until the girl who invited me got super hammered. She was walking around the party basically throwing herself at anyone and everyone. After she got upset no one would take her upstairs, she walked to the middle of the room and called for attention. She immediately chugged the rest of her beer, dropped her pants and stuck the beer bottle up her butt. There was like 20 people around her just aghast at what happened. Still remember it vividly after 12 years. Friend tells me, hey, if you see me running you should run too. That's awfully concerning. Why is that? People are coming that have beef with my friend here. They're strapped apparently. Strapped as in have real guns? Yes. Okay. Well then why don't we leave right now? I couldn't get my 2 drunkies. I was DD because one was talking to a girl and the other was nowhere to be found. Eventually people start flooding outside to see a fist fight. Fight turns into guy pulling his piece out and firing into the direction of someone. 3 people get hit. This was in like super white people suburbia too. No one died but photos circulated of the people who got hit in the wounds. Hand, leg, and leg. I saw the hand one from afar. Crap is crazy. Later found out it was over a girl and $50. Watched a guy play stupid games with a 5-pound can of black powder and a lighter and turn into a human fireball, then spent a week in the burn ward at Boston before dying. Lit. In sophomore year of college my friends and I held a pig roast. My freshman year roommate, who was a strange guy and who had not been invited, shows up, completely plastered. He goes on a drunken rant about not being invited, grabs a knife, and cuts out the pig's butthole, and eats it. As we stood there staring at him in shock and horror, he ran away. He is now known as Pig Butthole Guy whenever we reminisce about college. We had just finished a round of King's Cup and there was a lull. The cup was full of beer, Smirnoff, margarita, and a bunch of other crap. We played with 2 decks. We didn't really finish and it kind of just ended. I didn't want people to get bored so I shouted, last one in the bathroom has to drink the King's Cup. There was a freaking stampede of about 20 people in my house. First person in broke the door handle and flew into the shower doors that buckled and busted into the bathtub. Second person, my sister, tried to stop and I slammed into her, causing person 1 to fling into the shower. My sister and I crashed down to the ground and I saw why she had to stop. My female roommate was trying to take a crap. My sister laughed so hard she peed herself while I was sitting on her lap. Oh, and about 8 more people piled in and landed on top of us. It was great. Freaking heck, that's funny. I'm just imagining it from your roommate's point of view. Nice relaxing crap and then every sucker in the party stampedes in freaking up the bathroom and pee on each other. I saw the trifecta. Was at a college party at VT when a girl was on her way to the bathroom decided to have a bodily fluid meltdown. In the hallway to the bathroom she 1. Started puking, 2. Pooped her skirt, yeah, not pants. And 3. After lying on the ground for a couple minutes also peed. Interestingly enough this was at like 10 PM and the parents of the college kids hosting the party were there and I heard one of them murmur they don't party like we used to. A friend of mine organized a house party when he was 15 and told a bit too many people about it. It got gate crashed and I saw the following. Pets in the fridge, smashed mirrors, cut up furniture, people making love everywhere, copious amounts of drugs and alcohol, doors pulled off hinges, jewelry stolen, numerous people passed out, smashed windows, ate heard of his sister's pillow and pee on her bed, writing carved in walls. None of what was damaged was claimable on their insurance either. Welp. I used to live in Malaysia and one night upon returning to our house, a large group of monkeys picked a fight with us. Actual monkeys started becoming super aggressive, which freaked drunk us out completely. Our friend got too drunk, so he walked outside the front porch and threw up off the balcony right in front of the downstairs neighbor's door. Then, he went to the back balcony and threw up off of it, right by their back door, so our downstairs neighbor was trapped by vomit. Someone fell through a glass-topped table and badly slashed their arms. Blood everywhere. A party when I was in high school. We were all drunk, but at some point I noticed that some people were replacing water with vodka for all animal in the house. Few birds, dog, and a hamster. I told the guy who was holding the party. He did nothing, just laughing. I removed the vodka and put water back myself. Seriously, frick those guys. You should have replaced their vodka with water to restore balance. A drunk guy threw his plastic cup into the pool when he finished his drink, and the guy whose party it was went off, turned off the stereo, got everyone's attention and gave a mental lecture about not throwing anything into the pool. Within 4 minutes everything was in the pool. Plates, glasses, furniture, books etc etc. And worst of all, about 24 pot plants. Your friends are not nice people. Saw a 20-something-year-old guy finger a 15-year-old freshman who told the guy she was 19. Yikes. Just fights. It's always freaking fights. I grew up knowing which parties to avoid, because certain ones would always end with either the cops, or a stabbing and then the cops. Too many folks get drunk and then get real mean. I think it's more often mean folks who found an excuse to be so. A suicide. I didn't see the guy shoot himself, but the aftermath was plenty bad. Watched my tough guy buddy try to pick a fight with a visiting tough guy from another town. My friend instantly caught a jumping Van Damme spin kick to his head, knocking him temporarily blind. Saw another friend get bit on the neck by a dude while trying to break up a fight. We had to take him to emergency for the bleeding tooth marks in his neck. Another friend was stabbed in the throat at a bush party. He was fine, but it was close and the stabber caught a boot fricking and his truck was parked on a fire pit. Another guy caught stitches trying to break a glass bottle over his own head. 2 girls in a savage fight that left both of them missing teeth and bleeding profusely. But I also saw lots of boobs and girls making out and whatnot. It's all about balance in a small town. I'm from a small town too. One guy during his senior year in high school got emancipated and rented a house from his dad. Of course, underage drinking occurred regularly. His dad showed up during one of these parties one day and ended up punching his son so hard in the face that he crapped his pants and it fell out of his pant leg. The ceiling there was full of bullet holes. Had a few drinks at my cousin's house. Cousin's girlfriend starts sitting on every guy's lap, which leads to one of them telling my cousin that his girlfriend is too flirtatious, and that ends up spiraling into an argument which leads to the cousin's girlfriend jumping into the car out the front drunk out of her mind and trying to drive into my cousin and the other guy to stop them arguing. It was quite surreal watching it all play out, but the cops eventually showed up and no one managed to get seriously messed up except for a few bruises. But what a night that was. The girlfriend sounds like trash. 2 bros with reverse snapbacks and deep versus got into a fight and for henceforth be referred to as dude and guy. These are large humans who are the epitome of do you even lift. Bro guy threw dude through a wall, stud and all. Dude pulls himself out of the wall like Superman, one hand gripping the edge. Falling drywall snowing from above with a look of, let's get on. He charges guy like a linebacker going in for the sack. Guy crouches ready for it. Dude picks him up and runs right out the front door, taking the flimsy screen door with him and right off the porch, hitting the concrete sidewalk hard and guy having what's obviously a concussion. Dude is about ground and pounds the ever-loving frick out of guy and stops when he realizes guy is no longer with us on planet Earth anymore and is seeing birds and stars. Asks him if he's okay. Guy mumbles and dude helps him up and brings him inside. That's when we see just how fricked up these two made each other. Guy is concussed and dude has an inch-long cut running across his forehead. Dude apologizes to guy and starts crying. Guy starts crying and they hug. Dude then asks if he wants to see a card trick and the party resumes. If there is ever an episode of Animal Planet focusing on the behavior of human males, his would be an excellent dramatization. The booze ran out. It stopped being a party at that point and was just a gathering. Having to watch 2 65-year-old people grinding while listening to Shakira, hips don't lie, during a New Year's party. Tell your parents I said hi. You have been visited by the romantic doggo. Comment love is magic so you never fall in the friend zone. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.